Hello, I'm Ed.
And I'm Ken.
And welcome to Lumbridge. Alright, so on today's docket, we're going to go over some of the starting areas, mostly Draenor, Lumbridge, obviously, and Alcarid, and even cover some basic quests that are good starting quests to kind of get yourself introduced to Runescape. So, I mean, where do you want to kick it off today?
Well, obviously we got to start in Lumbridge.
You're right, fresh off the boat, fresh off of Tutorial Island. What do you see?
I mean, you start off in the middle of the plaza, in front of the castle, and you're wondering, where do I go from here? I mean, in your experience, you probably have a handful of things that you know what you want to start on, whether it be skilling or combat. If you are just fresh off the boat, not knowing what to do, it's always a good idea to get a couple of the easy quests done. Just ease yourself into it, and I mean, Lumbridge, it's the beginning. You have a couple of options of where to go.
I mean, right out the gate, to the north there's a quest. If you go into the castle, I'm pretty sure there's two quests you can start in the castle. Let alone if you go over to the church there's another quest there. I mean, quests galore for at least starting off.
Why not just start off with, fan favorite, chef's assistant, cook's assistant, chef's assistant?
What have you.
It's the same thing.
It is a great idea to start there. It's your basic run-of-the-mill gathering quest. All you need to do is get some basic ingredients, and you don't even have to go and trade. I mean, you could trade for them, but who you kidding? Might as well just run and grab them yourself. It's cheaper and it only takes a little bit of time. It's a great gathering quest that shows you that RuneScape isn't afraid to play to the normal quests that you'll find throughout MMOs. Sheepshearer, I think, is another good one. That one is another gathering quest, but kind of involves you going and grabbing something from sheep, hence Sheepshearer.
I mean, yeah, you can use the Grand Exchange, but everything's right there. It'll take you more time to run, get the money, get the stuff, and run back than it does to actually gather it yourself.
I remember my first time doing Cook's Assistant. I didn't even use the guide. By the way, old school RuneScape wiki has the guide, which is super nice and easy for going through any quest. But if you want to do it yourself without even a guide and really challenge yourself, some of these quests later down the road, they get pretty intense. But Chef's Assistant, pretty sure he tells you everywhere you can go to get all the items right out the gate.
Yeah, it's an entry-level quest. Like I said, first one many people probably do. All you need is a bucket of milk, an egg, and a pot of flour. Again, everything's right there in Lumbridge. Pretty much just north. You got the little cow pen area. Get yourself some leather, some meat, bucket of milk. You got your chicken coop to the north. Get yourself a nice egg. And then just, run to the flour mill. Get yourself some flour.
Easy peasy. I mean, that's just a basic quest. But kind of doubling down on what you were just talking about with the chicken pen and the cows, this quest shows you a few areas where you could also get some good training in for that combat stat. I mean, this is what Lumbridge has to offer. Everything is here. Quests, training areas for combat.
First 10 combat levels or so, I'd say, yeah, you could spend all your time here getting the other quests done, getting some easy GP. If we want to branch out a bit, I mean, the chicken coop, that's where I would always train first. Easy XP, you could get the feathers, save those for fishing.
Or even fletching.
Fletching.
For all you new members out there, fletching is definitely something you're going to want to do at some point. Especially if you're going to do range later down the road.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's quick, easy XP, probably the easiest 99 to get. Again, chickens. You get the feathers, bones, easy prayer. What I like to do is keep all the raw chickens and cook them. Free
Easy.
XP.
Free XP, free food down the road. I mean, if you're an Iron Man, you're like, shit, man, I don't got fishing, I don't have anything for fishing, but I do want to be able to do some combat quests. Where am I going to get food? Training at chickens or cows. Pick up the meats, just keep it, bake it, or, cook it right then and there, and you'll burn some of it, so drop the burnt, if you really want to maximize your inventory.
That's what I would do. I'd just get a full inventory of raw chickens, and then cook them all at once. Drop the burnt, and if I had to, I'd use the cooked chicken for food or just bank it. But again, realistically, this is pretty much the first 10 combat levels or so. Once you get past that, you're going to have a wider variety of things you could, monsters to kill or other options to do. Another reason I do like the chef's assistant, listen, you get 1 free quest point for participating, and then 300 cooking XP. So right off the bat, you're going to get a couple cooking levels.
I think at least 2.
Yeah, about 2 or 3. So it's a great start. Plus, you also get access to his quote-unquote Cook-O-Matic 100. All it really does is your chances of burning food is reduced a bit.
That's actually super nice, especially early game. Or heck, even later game. Because think about it. Let's say you're getting your fishing level up to the point where you can fish lobsters, and you have a whole bunch of lobbies. Now, let's say you don't want to sell them, you want to cook them, because lobbies are great food for healing yourself, at least for free to play. Right behind swordfish. Or even if you get swordfish, the Cook-O-Matic, if you're not at that level of cooking where you reduce the chance of burning, because at some point, eventually, you will never burn food again. If your cooking level is X amount of levels higher than it requires to even cook it, Cook-O-Matic, you're already taking a lot of those burns out of the scenario. You're saving yourself resources, time, and I mean, even if you were to sell at least the cooked product, you're saving yourself money, because burnt food doesn't sell at all.
It does not. I think people save them just so they have that impressive stack of burnt food.
That's another thing to add. For all you non-Iron Man players out there, hold on to your burnt food. I have actually learned holding on to your burnt food can end up actually paying out in the end. I was at the Grand Exchange, and there will always be, on a very rare occasion, on every blue moon, someone will say, buying burnt food. You just sell them your burnt food, and they will buy it well above, even if it's just 10 GP a pop. That's well above what it's worth in the Grand Exchange, which is 1 GP, no matter what it is. So you can actually make quite a bit of money off of your burnt food. Now, you don't have to keep it. That's just every so often that will present itself to you. And take advantage of it. Or don't. I mean, as you said in episode 1, hardcore casual player, you're going to play the way you want to play.
Yeah, I'm sort of OCD. I like to keep the clean bank as much as I can, so I'm not going to hold on to them. 9 out of 10 times I won't. I think on my Iron Man I did, but that's only because I wanted to keep everything and see the progress that I've made.
Oh, damn, I didn't think about that. That's actually a cool thing. You just held on to everything that ever came your way?
Most everything, yeah.
I've never thought about that. I got to do that. We should do that for our group Iron Man. Just hold on to everything and just see how far we've come from.
A good chunk of everything I've come into, I've kept. But yeah, that's pretty rare. Especially on the non-Iron Man, just because I have no need for it.
And bank space is obviously a very important resource. Like, you need to be able to store your items there.
Exactly.
See, is it bad? I hold on to so some quests have very specific quest items. It's only important for the quest, like a key item, or keys that are only important during the quest. And once you complete the quest, you no longer really need them. I have a habit of holding on to those items and then never getting rid of them.
I'm the same way.
Okay.
Realistically, probably should get rid of them, especially if you're teetering on the edge of free-to-play to members, because even if you have the membership space, once you get a free-to-play, you cannot deposit anything else.
I remember way back in the day, I was a member, so I had all that extra bank space, and then eventually my membership ran out, so all that extra bank space was gone. And I had in my inventory a granite maul, and I think a few other items of the base prayer armor. And I was like, damn, I can't store this in my bank. What am I going to do? I just dropped them on the ground.
Oh.
I was a young kid and I didn't know what to do. I was like, these aren't important. Just dropped them on the ground and then just went about my day.
Hate to see it happen.
It was a rookie mistake.
But I mean, what else are you to do, really? In that situation, if you can't get the membership again, I mean, you guess you have to pull the plug on it and just say, well...
Yeah, that was a bad day, and it was afterwards, like a couple weeks afterwards, that I came to regret it. Not because I got membership again, it was just looking at prices and looking at how important they were.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
But
Digressions aside, Lumbridge is, at least for every new player, a great place. You got trees to cut down over to the west. I think the highest rare tree back there is actually yew. There's a yew back there.
don't know. I'd have to take a look. Maybe there is one yew. I was going to say, I know there's a handful of oaks once you get to level 15 wood cutting. That's always a good one. But yeah, just run around chopping random trees.
There's actually a willow over by the bridge, too. So if you end up hitting that higher level, you can even chop down some willow. There's everything in Lumbridge. Like, that's the beauty. Obviously, it's not the most efficient, but if you really want to call Lumbridge your home and really hang out there, you could. Easily. You could pull it off and get everything you need just by hanging out in Lumbridge.
For beginners, yeah, there's everything you need. Later on, we could talk about better places for wood cutting, because actually just to the west of Lumbridge is the go-to spot for willows.
Yep, Draenor Village.
Yep.
Another great place.
Many hours spent there.
But before we get to Draenor, there's actually a quest that will take you through Lumbridge, through Draenor, and kind of end up in Port Sarim. But that's X marks the spot.
X marks the spot. That's a newer quest.
Yep.
You actually told me about it. I've never been a questing guy. I'm not into it. Some quests are needed, like some membership quests. What was it? Lost City. If you want to get that dragon sword, dragon dagger, you need to do that. Definitely recommended, but for beginners, you definitely want to go through some of the easier ones. And X marks the spot. That teaches you how to do clue scrolls, more or less.
It teaches you how to do beginner clue scrolls, for sure. Eventually, when it comes to learning about easy, medium, hard, and onward, you might want to refer to the wiki on how to do those. But beginner clue scrolls, best way to learn, X marks the spot.
Basically, has you do a hide and go seek. It'll tell you some clue, run over here, talk to some guy. He'll give you another clue.
I think you got to make sure you're dressed a certain way too for one of them.
For some of them, yeah. I haven't done X marks the spot in a while. Could look that up quickly, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, you need to wear some basic armor. Most anyone could get it pretty easily. I know some other clue scrolls. You like this, become a member, do some of those clue scrolls. Not only do you get some cool drops sometimes, it's pretty fun. If you don't got nothing better to do, run around, get some free stuff. I remember one of them, it's like you gotta wield a bronze chain body, chef's hat, and a whatever scimitar, and then do the dance emote.
Oh man, I remember when I was first doing clue scrolls, before the beginner clue scrolls came out, and there was one, when I was finally getting really into clue scrolls, I had a hard clue scroll, and it made me go all the way to Tirwin. Now, Tirwin is a members-only area, and the only way you can access it is by going to Ardoin, doing this really long, hard, complex quest line. It's the Plague City quest line.
Ooh.
And you have to go through the Underground Pass. And I wasn't ready to go through the Underground Pass because my agility wasn't high enough. Clue Scroll required me to go to a small little encampment on the other side, and I was so motivated to finish that clue scroll. I was like, all right, I haven't even started this quest line. Crack knuckles. I'm getting down. I'm doing this just for this clue scroll, because holy cow, I was having fun with it. You also have a small chance of getting all those cool rewards, like trimmed armors, trimmed robes, god armors, third age if you're really up there in level.
But even then, some of those are very pricey, so you could walk away with a pretty penny.
Yep, I mean, odds are very slim, but
it's still worth it.
Yeah.
It's free stuff. Most of them will take you maybe about 15-20 minutes if you're lucky on the shorter side. But hey, throughout the adventures, you'll slowly be accumulating them, so it's always worth it to do one or two here and there, just to roll the dice.
Say beginner clue scrolls are super easy. They're about 2 to 3 clues heavy, and you can potentially walk away with, I think a couple $100K on a really rare drop.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is you get some black equipment. That's not half bad for new players. Black equipment you can only get from certain drops, and those drops are pretty high leveled.
Yeah, if I remember, level 10 requirement, so level 10 defense to equip certain plate bodies and armor, level 10 attack to wield, and it's just as strong. No, isn't it between steel and mithril?
It's in between steel and mithril, just as good as white. The only difference is white is members and has prayer bonus.
So if you're going for the fashionscape, black armor is always a nice go-to.
Very much so. You can make that pair with almost any other equipment, make it look great. Fashionscape? Don't get me started on Fashionscape. Kenny and I have gone back and forth about this all the time. I have wasted so much money on items that aren't technically useful or efficient for my level, but I just want to wear them because I look really cool.
See, that's something I miss. Going back to the first episode, Jagex is trying to balance the game, get some more variety in what could be used, how it's used. When I first started, you see everyone running around with everything and anything equipped. People were PvPing with frog hats that give you no bonuses, but hey, at least you look good.
That's what I really want to see eventually come back. I don't think it'll come back in as heavy as it was when RuneScape first started, but to all you viewers out there, let's bring back Fashionscape. There's no reason to be wearing what you need to be maximum efficiency all the time. I understand if you're doing your skilling or if you're doing your combat, it makes sense.
But depending on the combat.
Exactly. But if you're just chilling around, just running, doing basic things, might as well look good. I want to see a lot of variety out there. I want to see what people have to bring in terms of fashion, because I am a fashionista only in RuneScape. If you were to look at me in real life, I wear jeans and a hoodie, and that's about it. Where should we go from here?
I mean, with questing, depending on the quest line, there are some just gathering quests. There are more, you gotta go through a whole storyline, attack some monsters. If it's a combat-focused quest line, yeah, you're probably gonna want to equip some of your best gear just to make sure you can get through it. If it's a gathering quest like Chef's Assistant, X Marks the Spot, even Sheepshearer, you really don't need to equip anything. Probably be best not to, just so you have all that run energy. It's very versatile. Like you were saying, if you're just relaxing, playing at your own pace, go crazy. Wear the frog hat. Otherwise, yeah, wear what you got so you can get through it easily. No sweats. You know, you don't want to die in the middle of a quest, especially if it could have been prevented.
Kind of on that note, at least that little bit of a story that just recently happened to you and I, we were doing Monkey Madness for the first time just the other night. And I was the fool who decided to bring my Fashionscape. And I got murked so flippin' fast. Obviously, I got all my gear back. There was no actual issue. It's not fun when you die. It's not fun going through the arduous process of trying to get back to your grave within 15 minutes before everything in that grave disappears.
But again, that Monkey Madness we should have known.
It was a master difficulty quest.
For people that done it before, I'm sure they're laughing. I mean, it is a tricky quest. Really, I think you could get around it by being sneaky, using prayer. But it's definitely a high-level quest for a reason.
Definitely not it. They always say it's an easy quest. It's an easy quest if you've done it multiple times before. This was our first time going through, and we have no idea what to expect, even if we're following the guide.
The guide only tells you so much.
It doesn't fully prepare you for what you can get yourself into. The level 1 spiders were attacking us, and they could poison us even if they didn't get a hit in. It was wild.
Yeah, I don't understand why such low-level things are hitting you so high. So yeah, if you're using a guide, make sure to read through it fully, know what you're getting yourself into, and just take it one step at a time.
Easier said than done. So continuing on with quests, just mostly talking about the variety that RuneScape have to offer. Another important reason to get quests done is that they can sometimes help you out, not just with getting you equipment or unlocking certain things in terms of equipment, but making quality of life improvements in-game. Another great free-to-play quest to do is Prince Ali Rescue. And that brings us to Al-Kharid, but we'll cover Al-Kharid after we get to the end of this brief description of how important this quest can be. It can be short if you have all the items you need. It could be a little bit longer if you don't have the items you need. But once you complete it, it gives you access to a gate right out from Lumbridge straight to Al-Kharid. Now, it may not seem super integral at this time. However, the gate requires 10 gold pieces. Now, you can always carry gold on your person, but let's say there's this one time that you want to go to Al-Kharid, and you have no equipment on, you have nothing in your inventory, and you try going through the gate. Well, the guards stop you saying you need 10 GP. Now you're left with a decision. Do you turn around and kill goblins until they drop enough gold, or pick up their items and sell them at the general store till you have enough gold, or do you run back to the bank to get gold, or do you run north, then south?
You see, when I first started playing, it took me forever to do this, so I'd always either run around or I'd have to pay the 10 gold, and that just gets annoying. Over time, it does add up, especially at a low level when you're not familiar with everything, you don't have the resources or the capabilities of getting them buku bucks. So, this quest line, it's very helpful. Even if you go through a guide, it shouldn't take you all that long. It's just a lot of running around, gathering the items. And that free toll, it's so nice. Especially if you're trying to get crafting up, there's a good method, especially lower levels. You kill the cows, you get the leather. Oh wait, I got a Tanum and Alcarid. Ooh, if only I had that free toll pass. So completing it, much like Cook's Assistant, you get those nice quality of life in-game perks. Let me see, in reality, it's really not that expensive. You just need a whole bunch of items. I think 100 gold, it says, to get through some of it. But other than that, if you're an Iron Man, it should be fairly simple. If you're a free-to-play non-Iron Man, you could always have your buddies help or go to the Grand Exchange for most of that. But it's definitely not needed. The official length is short. It's not too bad, even though, funny enough, we were just discussing this off mic. Some of these quests, they say it's long, but it's more of a medium. They say it's, short, but it takes a bit longer than expected. So take those with a grain of salt.
It always depends on how prepared you are, all the resources you have available to you. Like, it could say short, but it could end up being really long because, let's say, you're missing a teleport. Teleports are super nice, especially when dealing with quests.
Yes, especially mid-level. Definitely get your mage up to get some teleports. They are going to be such a lifesaver.
Varrock for sure. You definitely want Varrock Telly.
Varrock, Valley, Lumbridge teleport so you don't have to wait 30 minutes all the time.
So coming off of rescuing Prince Ali, you have now free access to Alcarid. Alcarid is actually a great place to train on top of getting crafting up because there's access to the tanning there. Now the training is you kill the guards. They have pretty decent drops. I think they're level 20, but they can drop up to black equipment.
Are they level 20? I thought they were more like 10 to 20. Either way, I know they're low defense. If you do AFK, they will aggro on you. You attack one guard, 2-3 guards will come to you. So it's definitely AFKable. Once you're at a higher level, they do drop a whole bunch of coins. I think if you're members, they drop a handful of herbs. Other useful things, like you said, black armor. And as you're training, there is the scimitar stall, to where you could just constantly upgrade, up to mithril, I believe.
Yep, up to mithril. There's even plate legs there if you wanted to get your adamant plate legs, at least for all you Iron Man out there. Because that's the only real fast place to getting adamant plate legs that doesn't require high-level Slayer. Another point of interest in Alcarid is the duel arena. That's where a lot of gambling, sanctioned gambling, takes place.
It's called risking or staking.
Staking, that's what it's called.
So you'll be like, hey, 1v1 me. And they'll be like, okay. And then I think I don't do this. I've never really been into PvP either. But you could choose to fight them, and then you both put up a stake. Like, okay, 1,000 each. Winner take all. So if you're into PvP, but you want to do it in a safe manner, it's definitely a good place to be.
Especially if you're confident in your skills. Or luck, rather. I've seen people who got almost scammed out of their money, where they have limited resources. Obviously, they're only allowed the weapon slot, and what they think is they can't bring in food, but they never checked off no food. So their opponent scammed them by not checking that off, and they'll bring in food themselves. I saw someone pull away, almost getting scammed, with 5 mil at the end.
Jeez.
Now, it does sound tantalizing to get 5 mil. Gamble at your own risk. Like, just go in paying what you're willing to lose. That's all I can say.
Just know this too, PvP is a whole different area and meta in of itself. Definitely lots of flicking if you're doing the wildy PvP. I'm sure even with this, people flick between different items and armor sets. It's a whole different world.
It's a different beast in and of itself. I mean, it garners its own dedicated everything. Its own episode, its own coverage, its own stats, like equipment after this, balancing of equipment coming out for PvP, the whole meta might change. Like it could get flipped upside down as far as we know.
I don't get into it too much, so let's just focus on learning the different armors, what's best in slot at your level, and we'll take it one baby step at a time.
Focusing on PvM first. More crucial, at least, for the early levels.
I feel PvP is definitely more of a late to end game content to fully maximize on it.
Or at least going through the game once to learn the game, and then coming in with a second account to make a combat pure, or to make something that's truly dedicated to PvP.
Exactly, because it really is, on these smaller scales, whoever has the better stats at that combat level will win.
So when it comes to PvP, it really does matter about the nitty-gritties. But, I mean, that's kind of the important part of it, and I can't argue anything against it because it makes sense. Going back once again into what Al Kharid has to offer, there's actually a nice mine straight north. It's, in comparison to the Falador mines, it's kind of on par with how far you would have to run. It's great for lower level mining, that's for sure. You also have quick and easy access to the furnace right then and there as you come back with your ore. I know for a fact I used to train there way, way, way back in the day when I was like mining iron. It was a great place to get iron ore.
Even to this day, it's still a great place for new accounts, or even if you just want something quick and easy. I think the only drawback are the scorpions. They will draw aggro on you, but there's only, 2, 3 of them? Maybe 4. Usually when I'm there, I see a mage up top the hill attacking them. So that's the one drawback, but you still have all the basic ores. I think there's the copper, some tin. You got the iron, a whole bunch of iron. A couple of coals, I think maybe an adamant.
I think there's one adamant and just a small handful of mithril.
So it's definitely a good place to start off at. Very easy runs, just straight down, straight up. You don't got to go through doors, go up ladders.
And if you want to, and like I said, if you want to smelt it right then and there and just store the ore, you can do that. Just make sure you mine what you need.
That's what I do. I'd usually always just get the ore first, figure out how much of this do I need, how much of that. Okay, and then, once I'm at the bank, I'll just make the runs back and forth. Another thing, just to the south of the bank are a couple of fishing areas. There still is a scorpion, so for lower levels it may be a bit intimidating. It's so close to a bank, it beats going to Lumbridge to fish. If you're not a member, Catherby is a great place for fishing. It's a very quick bank.
What do you mean, if you're a member?
If you're a member. To get there at such a low level, you will have to run through a whole bunch of stuff. So without the teleports, without the defense, Al Kharid's going to be a good starting point.
Oh, especially for fishing. And if you're not, power fishing, it's great for if you want to end up banking your stuff.
I don't see why you wouldn't want to at such a low level, especially if you are going to play the game. And by that I mean, go through combat, go through quests, try and get all the stats up. If you're not a special account, you may as well keep them, cook them, get the levels up. You have some food if needed.
Invest in your own resources because you can use them later down the road, especially when you might actually need them. See, the last place to cover in the Al Kharid area, this is for all you members out there, is the Mage training area. Now, I can tell everyone out there, this is a place for all you mages. It's a worthwhile investment, not just for equipment, but actually XP. It's 4 different types of minigames revolving around magic. Holy cow, you can walk away with some buku crazy XP if you do Alchemist's Playground. The other important thing to know about this place is it's important to getting turned bones to peaches, which basically give you free food that heal 8 per peach, I guess. So if you're ever out there doing a long slayer session or a long killing session and you're starting to run low on HP because you ran out of food, pick up the bones, cast turn bones to peaches, you got free heals right there. But the other important thing is the equipment that it offers. It offers some of the greatest stuff for mages. Infinity Boots and the Mage's Book. And the Master's Wand to get the best in slot for mages, which is the Kodai Wand. We'll cover all that stuff later, But I just wanted to put that out there for you guys, just so you know what to expect later down the road.
See, I'm not a mage. I don't focus on the magic skill, so this is definitely going to be your neck of the woods. Dabble it in the ranging a bit more. Even then, I'm not an expert. Most everyone's going to know the melee, because that's the easiest to train, easiest to use. Everything magic related, you'll have to go to the magic man himself.
Actually, as we're talking about this right now, I'm on my way to become the most utility-oriented magician possible for our group. I want to try and get lunar diplomacy done so I get the lunar spellbooks. So Ken and I, we got mad teleports. And eventually I can recharge our Dragonstone gear for even more teleports.
It's a win-win.
Exactly.
See, magic is so versatile. The only reason I got mine up is because of high alching, and that is something you all should aim for eventually. Level 55 magic, you get high alch. Not only do you get more money than if you were to sell at a store, a lot of things on the GE, you'll have to look through them, you could buy cheaper than what their high alch is. So not only does it help the economy, it helps fatten your pocket.
So the last place to really cover, I guess, in starting areas would be Draenor Village. Straight west, I know we talked about it a little bit, but we didn't really go over. We kind of glossed over it as we were talking about X marks the spot as you cross through Draenor. But Draenor there's not much to do there other than the willows. I know there's
willows, there's the fishing for low level. I don't remember the nodes, but I think it's a lot of the small net fishing. I don't know if there's the fly fishing or bait fishing. Low level fishing, it's a good place to go. Willows, definitely for that low to mid tier wood cutting. You're on your way there. Lots of people there, so if you do get attacked by the Dark Wizard, I'm sure someone will go and help defend you. Otherwise, you'll just have to run away and go back down.
And for members, actually, there's the master farmers there, which are pretty good to steal from.
Yeah, in the members world, I see lots of people that have the stalls for thieving, so you could train there. The bank is right next to it. So if you want to keep all the seeds you can, I use Runelight, so I'll just see a spam of all the drop seeds. Can't even see what I'm looking at.
Speaking of Runelight, before we get into the last key point in Draenor, Runelight is a great application to have for Runescape. You just recently got me to download and use it. I'm normally a vanilla pleb, but now that I'm using Runelight, holy cow, I'm loving it. It makes everything easier for myself. It's not taking away from the game, rather it's adding some quality of life to it that you would kind of hope the game would have, but understandably it can't. Like showing you items that are on the ground so you can say, I already know what's in that pile there, instead of scrolling over, right clicking, and then trying to read through all of that. And it also shows you the GP value and the high alch value.
For those wondering, yes, Jagex did come out and say it is okay. I believe Runelight did work with Jagex to make sure everything is compliant. So it's not going to be one of those illegal third-party applications. Like Ed was saying, it's just a nice quality of life. Gives you some nice things, not only in the game, but in the client itself. It has a GE lookup, a few calculators. It helps keep track of the experience earned. XP rates per hour, that is something very helpful. Just to see what's better and what situation for training. You also have the, what else? You could look through the worlds, easily hop through worlds. Although the client does have that in the normal vanilla RuneScape now, which is what I always use. It's just way easier, way faster. What else is in Runelight that you like?
I do like having my HP and my prayer values down at my inventory. Because sometimes when I'm in combat, I'm looking more at my inventory, making sure I'm eating my food, drinking my potions, instead of constantly looking up a mini-map to see what's going on.
Yes.
In terms of I guess this is the shortest way to put it, is where I'm focused at. If I were to zoom in, my character is going to be closer to my inventory rather than my mini-map. So I guess it's just an easier way for me to divert my eyes.
Again, just quality of life, small fixes here and there that the vanilla client doesn't give you.
Oh, I just remembered actually. It tells you how much your food is going to heal you for and what the potions are going to do.
It has the little hover over tool tips, which are always nice. If you're going to heal more than what HP you've lost, it'll be yellow and show you, so you can maximize the food.
So you're not eating food when you don't really need to eat food.
If you are into the game, wanting to get a bit more out of it to help you play through, it's definitely worth looking into. Probably look at different YouTubers. They'll probably explain it. If you've seen YouTubers, I'm assuming most of them, you will see them use it. So it's just one of those community things that are definitely worth a look at.
All right. So now covering the last point of interest in Draenor. And actually, what I gotta say is probably the most iconic place for me when I was first getting into RuneScape during my free-to-play adventure. Draenor Manor.
Ooh.
A spooky place. But what I remember being so iconic about it was for low-level players, up until you're ready to do Dragon Slayer, which is what we like to consider the end game for free-to-play. Like, once you complete Dragon Slayer, welcome to members.
There's really only up. Once you do complete Dragon Slayer, you get access to the rune plate body. Is it just the plate body?
Green dragon hide.
Green dragon hide body, rune plate body, and then that's it. You could equip all the best gear for free to play pretty much. Once you do that, all the other questing, if you haven't done it, it's going to be a breeze.
Dragon Slayer is definitely the peak in terms of difficulty for free to play. And that's why I always like to think that once you complete Dragon Slayer, you obviously can keep going on, try and max out your free to play skills, but after you hit that point where it's like you've already done everything you can possibly do for free to play, if you want to, and if you have the money, time, or whatever have you to invest into membership, I would recommend after that, invest in membership.
Yeah, you're only going to open the doors even more. Because once you beat the quests, all you really can do is train the skills. I mean, the grind, it is part of the game. I'm not saying it's fun. I'm not saying it isn't fun. But you just have so much more opportunity, so many more doors to open with the membership, that once you beat it, hey, you got the rune. Assuming you got the full rune set, get the membership or get your levels up to where you want them to be to get the membership, and then just continue playing.
I just remembered. I might throw in 2 extra challenges in before you get membership. There are 2 free-to-play bosses for free-to-play. It is the Hill Giant boss and the Moss Giant boss. I haven't fought the Moss Giant boss, but I have gotten a lot of kills on that Hill Giant boss. But I would recommend giving those guys a try before you actually move on, because that shows you what you could be signing up for once you get to membership with high-level skill when going into combat for members, because there will be bosses in members that you're going to want to take on just because of their drops or just because of the challenge. But digressions aside, Draenor Manor is definitely a good midway point. Iconic because of Vampire Slayer, and it's iconic because it has one of the more complex beginning quests, Ernest the Chicken.
Yeah, I do like Draenor Manor. It's a bit spoopy. When you run through, fenced off with a bunch of scary trees, vampire vibes, Halloween-y. Don't get spooked. The trees will slap at you. Maybe do 1 damage, 0 damage, but they will slap at you. There's the quest lines. If you're a membership, I believe there's a couple other quests available in the manor itself. So it is a central point in the RuneScape journey. Definitely has some storylines leading into it. It's always nice to know where it is as well. Right smack dab in the middle of Mistlane. And then, like Ed was saying, Ernest the Chicken. One of the more iconic free-to-play quests that you will get through.
It's definitely a complex quest in comparison to the other ones, just because of the level of puzzle solving that goes into it. There's a complex door puzzle where you have to pull a lever and it opens these doors, and then you have to pull another lever which will close some doors but leave other doors open. And you have to get through all of that just to get one item. It also has some really small details that if you're not using a guide, you have to pay attention to. I won't give you too much of a spoiler, but it does have to do with piranhas in a fountain And how do you deal with piranhas in a fountain if you can't straight up kill them? You have to figure that one out. And I like that because it doesn't tell you straightforward how to deal with it unless you're following a guide. It's like there are these items that you can see on your mini map, or if you have RuneLight, it will highlight them saying this is what it is, but it'll show you these items. Now it's up to the player to put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, so I have to do this to deal with that. And that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, it's very similar to the other, I don't know what you would call them, not dungeon crawler games, but those puzzle games.
Yes.
Where you got to go through. Doesn't really give you any heads up of what to do, where to go. You'll just explore, find some items, see what you can do with the items. Does this work on this? Does this go here? So if you're not using a guide, just play around. It definitely was fun as a kid trying to figure it all out. And then, oh, Edward figured it out. How did you do it? Show me. It definitely helps bring out that joy of puzzle solving.
That's what I love about RuneScape quests is they have that ability to really, if you're not following the guides, do you know how to solve problems with intuition or pick up on small clues? Like maybe a dialogue with a character will drop some subtle hints of what you need to do. And that's what I love about it. It's so much better than questing in modern MMOs nowadays where it's go and kill 50 monsters and then come back and talk to me. You still can do that in RuneScape, at least for members. That's called Slayer. It's literally a skill dedicated to just going and killing X amount of monsters.
But at the same time, Jagex, some quests, which one was it? In Aid of My Reek, there was a point where if we weren't using the guide, it would have been like, wait, what? How the hell does that work? That's not intuitive.
That I will have to admit, there are some times where the guide is definitely more helpful than just trying to use your own intuition because some of those things go way over your head. I'll give you the best example. Not Elemental Workshop 1, but Elemental Workshop 2. That quest, what? Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to solve the puzzle in that quest. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't show me what it's supposed to look like when it's completed. I don't know how people used to figure that out before the wikis, but holy cow, props to them because that is some complex shit. So it almost seems like we might have forgotten one last point of interest over in the beginning area, and that's the Wizard's Tower. And I'm going to probably say this right out. We've probably glossed over it because it's not as integral as people would want it to be.
It has its niche reasons of why you would want to train there or go there. Obviously, it has one big quest, which is why we would like to talk about it. That would be Rune Mysteries.
Yep, it's a great introduction to the hellscape that is rune crafting.
If you're an Iron Man, definitely want to get some of these levels out earlier, just so you have a nice understanding of what rune crafting is, understand the hell it is, and hey, you're going to get some free runes out of it.
That probably would be the more important part. Definitely getting runes. So for all you magic users out there, this is the only way you can get your own ammunition. For melee, it's smithing. For ranged, it's a mix of smithing and fletching. For magic, almost entirely strictly rune crafting. And I'm sorry to say for all you magic users, this is the son of a bitch of skills. It's so click intensive. You get barely any ammunition every run you make until you get to higher levels because of multiple ruins. It is quite the time sink.
But at the same time, it is a nice flex. I know my one buddy, he stopped at level 73 rune crafting, I think, just because that's like the threshold. Once you get 73, it's just hell going forward.
Mad money making though for members once you go forward. Making blood ruins, holy cow, you can make bank.
Yeah, so it has its nice purposes and uses. It's just going to take you forever. But the quest itself, it's pretty straightforward. You just help out the good old wizard guy do his thing, and you get access to, what is it? What was the name of the area? Basically, it's a mine where you just mine the essence.
The Rune Essence Mine. I believe that's what it's called.
How aptly named.
The quest will have you, I think, end in Varrock, and we'll get to Varrock and Falador probably next episode. We want to save those for their own whole segments because we've been aiming for about an hour shift, and we're slowly running out of time. I mean, after you get Ruin Mysteries done, you've basically have covered a good portion of your Draenor, Lumbridge, and Alcarid. Like, those are the big areas for mid-level. Beginning to mid-level, I'd say, like 30s or 20s.
Yeah, once you get to like level 25 combat, you could probably move on to Varrock. Falador opens the doors up a bit more. It also just makes it a whole lot easier. But for sure, Wizard's Tower, once you get to about those levels, I think it's a good area where you could train, because the wizards do drop runes. The wizards will drop their wizard robes, wizard hats, which is free to play, best in slot.
It really is.
It's one of those, again, niche areas. Not going to delve too much into it, because there's really only that, the Rune Mysteries quest, and then the wizards themselves.
There is Imp Catcher, but that's just a small niche quest. It doesn't really give you much except for maybe good XP, and it's a time-consuming quest. It just requires you to kill imps throughout the world and get their beads. Simple, but it's a long quest just depending on RNG.
Yeah, it's very luck intensive, because imps drop almost everything. It has a random drop list.
Very random. Buckets, 2 bowls, 2 pots of flowers.
Chef's hat, if you will.
Oh yes, the best drop in my opinion. Always gotta have that chef hat.
It is needed for the cooking guild, so may as well save 1 or 2.
I mean, that's the beginning area. That's Lumbridge. Or Southern Misthalin. If
Southern Misthalin, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Draenor, Lumbridge, Alcarid. Starting off, those are some nice areas if you don't want to venture too far off. And again, like we said, we'll cover Varrock and Falador later. Those are going to be, I feel, more of the central hubs as you go through your career in RuneScape.
Definitely more skilling and definitely more money related, at least for Varrock, considering the Grand Exchange.
Yes, yeah. Falador, I think, it has its nice purposes. You have 2 banks, some farming plots, the mine, but it also has a handful of quests there as well. So it's going to be a nice place. It's also a nice westwardly teleport to help you get around.
Oh yes, very much so. Kind of backtracking and just I'm going to reminisce for a little bit about my time spent when I first got into the game. A good portion of my training was done on the other side of the bridge in Lumbridge, killing goblins. I think I did that up until around the level 20s. I'd be running over there. I had black gear on at that point in time, but I remember iconically just sitting there stabbing goblins hours on end. And I'd go and pick up all their drops and I'd sell them to not the Grand Exchange, I'd sell them to the general store. At least at that point, before the Grand Exchange, what I considered was a pretty buck of maybe 1,000 coins at most.
If you're first starting out, I mean, yeah, you could probably make that on the Grand Exchange. 1,000 for most in-game purposes, if you're not using the GE, you could get lots of the beginning stuff with that. Especially lower levels. You can get the gear, the food, random items you may need for quests if you find the specialty shops. So 1,000, it's good, especially if you're an Iron Man first starting. It will take you time as an Iron Man to get that much, but if you stay persistent, if you sell to the right places, you'll slowly get there. I would always do the chickens, because 1, they don't hit you like the goblins do. 2, you get the feathers, the bones. I mean, yeah, goblins for coins, but chickens were just so much easier. I don't want to hassle on food and health, so... Funny enough, though, I think it was Darkscape. I was focusing on the goblins just west of the bridge, more so towards the general store in the forested area.
I love the forested area just because of the song that plays there. The name of the song is Dream.
Yeah, it's very iconic.
It's so tranquil back there, even though it's filled to the brim with goblins. And a secret hideout for all you members out there. You'll get to know them as the Ham group, and you'll have to learn what that stands for yourself, but it's...
I do like ham.
So moving forward with what we're going to be doing as a group, I guess, Kenny and I, we're gonna really want to try and build a community with what we're doing here. And some ideas that we've been bouncing off each other back and forth later down the road is using our social media / the podcast to advertise some giveaways.
To be honest, I'm not too fond of just strictly giveaways. I think it's more like streamers. I see people do that and they get the big influx. If we get the community going, get that dedicated base of even people who just want to stop by for a bit, get some events going. Like I said, you want to like some giveaways. I personally like the drop party idea. It's a bit more fair, a bit more evenly distributed.
Everyone brings a little something to it.
We could talk about that next episode when we get to Falador and Varrock. I mean, you could also have the drop parties, where I think we drop a bunch of stuff. Whoever gets the most of item X, bring it to us, you win.
I don't think we'd be dropping valuables like most drop parties do. I think what we were talking about is dropping simple items, people picking up as many of the simple items as possible, and showing us how many of those simple items you have. Mm-hmm. And then whoever has the most, they get prize 1, prize 2, prize 3. We'll be playing various kinds of games. It'll differ every time we have a party. Sometimes it'll be trivia night. I do want to do a trivia night at some point.
Oh, that would be pretty good.
Would
it be RuneScape related or general trivia?
I think it can be variable. I think some nights might be strictly RuneScape. Other nights might be just, here's some random trivia. I think what we can do with it is endless, and I like the idea of trying to engage players in a way that's different than different than the content that RuneScape has to offer.
Different from the norm that we've seen.
We bring more player engagement through player interaction. It's things to do on a game that is or has the potential of being social. It's bringing people together. Like sometimes we might have these events, and sure, everything will be over with, but what I'm really actually hoping for isn't people walking away happy that they have something. What I'm hoping for is people walking away, or not even walking away, lingering around and just having conversations, shooting the shit about, oh, hey, I'm working this job right now, and this is the bullshit that's been going on. Or like, hey, what are you working on right now? Are you doing questing? Are you doing skilling? I want to see people interacting with one another, just shooting the shit.
The good old days where people would just say random things in chat, have chit chat. What I'd like to go for are more mini game nights. I almost forgot, Castle Wars is free to play now, so that's always a good one. I've been liking Pest Control recently. I want to get some of those going. Even if it's not on the Pest Control world, we could have, if we get enough, we could all just go to the one world, play by ourselves.
I say use the novice boat so everyone's available to use it.
No one gets left behind.
Exactly. I'm excited, looking forward to what we can do. I feel it in my bones. I feel like we can start bringing this RuneScape community back together and making it a community again. Instead of it being so segmented and divided by, you have skillers, you have PvPers, and you have clue scroll hunters. I think what we can do is we can bring them all together and say, this is the game. We're all here. We're all affected by it. Let's just have fun with it.
Exactly. Get everyone together. Let's not have those divides where you only focus on the one thing. I mean, yes, sometimes I'll go and only do clue scrolls for the day. Other times I'm lazy. I just want to watch TV and chop some trees. Once we get this going, we could mix and mingle everything together. Expand the horizons, get some of your other skills up. That could be an idea. A skilling party.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Hey, everyone, meet on World 343 at X and Y location.
Maybe not 343. I think that's a PvP world.
I'm just saying, random worlds.
Semantics.
Even then, hey, just bring a bronze hatchet. We'll all go on a PvP world and just chop trees.
Heck yeah, see who can live the longest. That'd be a fun one. Who can survive the longest without PvP gear on a PvP world? I think that'd be a fun game. I have a feeling that we might get targeted pretty fast.
But at the same time, we could bring, rune, or not even rune. Let's get a bronze simi, frog hat, and just, 1v1 some scrubs.
If we walk away with the dub, I feel it in our bones. In my bones. Not your bones. Just mine.
But either way, that's what we're aiming for. Just, fun, lighthearted stuff. I'm not trying to go too hardcore. Let's just have some fun with it, you know? I'm a casual hardcore, but I'm hardcore casual. I guess to wrap things up nicely, this is probably going to be part one of, getting started. What's around when you're first starting the game? Obviously, we still have Falador, Varrock to get to. Port Sarim, I guess, a little. Edgeville. There's Remington. But again, those are smaller areas. Not going to be going there too much starting off.
Should we include the wilderness?
Wilderness, we could talk about, I think, later. Again, I think it's more niche. You're really not going there unless you're doing the wilderness diary tasks or if you have other unique things to do. But it is fun, especially back when we had no clue what we were doing. We just run there for adventures, hope not to get ganked. So it has its moments. For now, just wanted to briefly overview everything, Lumbridge, Draenor, Alcarid. Nice starting areas, definitely have a lot to do. You don't have to do them all right away. We just want you to, start thinking about what can I do next.
See your options. See what you got out there.
Exactly. There's always something to do in RuneScape. Like you were saying, you never quit. You just take really long breaks.
I guess that leaves us open for our self-plugin, which is you can follow us at Twitter at WLumbridge, or Welcome to Lumbridge, and our Instagram, which is also Welcome to Lumbridge. We even have a YouTube channel, which is Welcome to Lumbridge. We try to keep everything in-house, at least with the same name, make it easier for everyone. But if you really enjoy us and you really like what's going on here, tell your friends, spread the word. We're just looking to get around and see what we can do out there. See all the people we can entertain.
For now, we're planting the seed, so slowly everything will bloom. So for now, just be patient with us. We still have the clan chat to get situated on. Obviously waiting for Jagex to fix everything up, to make things a bit more streamlined. And then once that happens, Group Iron Man will come. And that will be our main focal point.
I'm probably going to be switching over from my main to that for a majority of my time spent.
Yes, a whole bunch to do on that. We also want to get a community going like we've been saying. We'll all be trying to work together, get everything working, and eventually everything will bloom into this wonderful community of noobs, tubes, froobs alike.
Don't forget the lube. All right. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Kenny.
It's always a pleasure speaking with you, Ed.
And I guess we'll see you in Lumbridge, yeah?
Of course. Where else would I spawn in?
Good night, everyone.
Have a good one.